Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Today we're going to make the square for the Bloomscape cowl. What you're going to need to make your square, you're going to need your center flower for the cowl, one every month, and they'll all be a different flower, but they will have the same edge. So we're going to be working into the same spaces. So our square is going to be the same, even though our flowers are going to be different. So you'll need your flower. You'll need about 25 grams of your green color yarn. I'm using a 4 worsted weight acrylic and about 10 grams of your cream color or whatever you're using to go around your edge. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a stitch marker's handy if you are new to making granny squares. You'll also need a needle for sewing in your ends later and a crochet hook. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook for my blanket, but you could use whatever hook size is recommended for your yarn. Just make sure your flowers and your block are all made with the same weight of yarn and the same hook size. So let's get started. Start with a loop of your green yarn and put your hook down into any corner space on the front of your flower. Loop of yarn on your hook and bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join. And now check that your tail is long enough to sew in with a needle. Chain 2, 1 and 2. If you join your yarn in a different way, do a chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet. Wrap your yarn and 2 double crochets into that same space. So just making half of our first corner, just like that. Now into each of the next 3 spaces, all the way along, we're going to do 3 double crochets into each space. So drop your tail, we'll have to sew that in later. Wrap your yarn and 3 double crochets into the next space, right after that leaf. 1, 2, and 3. Into the next space, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And into the next space, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now into our corner space, we're going to do a corner. Corners are 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets into the same corner space. 1, 2, and 3. So that is our corner. Every corner gets a corner. And every side space, these 3 along each side, get 3 double crochets. So into the next space, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now you can pause the video and just work ahead 3 double crochets into each of the next 2 spaces. Right there, just like that. And now into our corner space, right there, we're going to do a corner. So corners, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, all into the same corner space. There's 1, there's 2, 3, chain 2, 1 and 2. Now you can slide your stitches back. So just grab that leaf and grab your stitches. Just slide your stitches back to get more space. We want all of our double crochets sitting nice and pretty side by side. So 3 more double crochets into that same corner space. Just like that. Here is our number 3. Now I can pause the video and keep working along. 3 double crochets into each space along the side. And corners, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. So keep working your way along and I'll meet you when we get back to where we joined. When you get back to where you joined, Just grab your leaf again and your stitches and slide your stitches back to get some more space into that corner. And we're going to finish our corner with 3 double crochets into the same corner space that we started with. And now we're going to join with a chain 1 and a single crochet to join. So the top of the chain 3, we can count our little V's. There is 1, 2, and 3. We want to go right into that third chain right there. We want 2 strands of that stitch on the top of our hook. So pop your hook in, 2 strands on the top of your hook, and make 1 single crochet to join. Just like that. Now hold that open with your finger and thumb. And chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now turn your work. So that single crochet gets us lined up right in the middle of that corner, so we can hide our join. So grab your stitch marker and just pop it into that corner space. Right there. That's going to mark our corner so we don't miss it when we come whipping our way along. So into this next space, right here, 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 and 2. Into the next space, 1 single crochet, chain 2, and into the next space, 1 single crochet, chain 2. Into the next space, 1 single crochet, chain 2, and now we're at our corner. Our corners are 1 single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1 single crochet into that same space. So that's what our corners are going to be for this round. Chain 2, 1, 2, and 1 single crochet into the next space. Chain 2, 1 single crochet into the next space. Chain 2, 1 single crochet into the next space. We're just working our way along the side, making these nice little spaces for our next round. Chain 2, and 1 single crochet into the next space. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and now we're at our corner again. So corners are 1 single crochet, chain 3, and 1 single crochet into that same corner space. Then you can pause the video and keep working along, doing a chain 2 and single crochet in each of these spaces all the way along your sides. And corners, 1 single crochet, chain 3, and 1 single crochet. So keep working along, and I'll meet you when we get close to our stitch marker. When we get back close to our stitch marker, do your last chain 2, 1 and 2, and now into that same space where we put our stitch marker, just into that corner space, we're going to do 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're still going to single crochet to join. So I'm going to pop out that stitch marker, and we're going to do 1 single crochet to join. So you pull up that chain, the first chain 3 that we made, you'll see that stitch right here at the bottom. That is where we want to join to. We want to join right into that stitch. So pop your hook in, 1 single crochet to join. And chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work. You want to pop that stitch marker back into our corner space. So wiggle your finger into that little loop we just made, and we want to pop our stitch marker right down in, right there. That's marking our corner space. And now into the same space, right here, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So there is 1 and 2. And now we're just going to be working into these loops, into these spaces all along the side. Each space gets 3 double crochets all along the side. So into the first space, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and into the next space, right there, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and into the next space, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 double crochets into each of the next 2 spaces. 1, 2, 3, and into the last space, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Into your corner space, we're going to do a corner. Corners are the same as our first row, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets all into that same space. So wrap your yarn. 1, 2, and 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2. Now we can slide those stitches back if you need to get some more space, and 3 more double crochets into that same corner space. So there is 1, 2, and 3. So now you can pause the video and keep working along. 3 double crochets into each space along your sides, and corners, 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets into each corner space, and I'll meet you when we get back closer to our stitch marker. When you get back to your stitch marker, we're just going to finish our corner into that same space where our stitch marker is, so 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and pop that stitch marker out. And we're going to join with a chain 1 and a single crochet into the top of that chain 3 to join, right there. So pop your hook in and 1 single crochet to join. Just holding that spot open with your finger and thumb, 1 single crochet to join. And chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work. And still holding that open, we want to pop our stitch marker back in, right where we're going to be finishing this corner. So right there, we want to pop our stitch marker in. And into the next space, 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, into the next space, 1 single crochet, chain 2, and into the next space, 1 single crochet, chain 2. I can pause the video and keep working along, doing your chain 2 and single crochet into the space, and I'll meet you when we get to our corner. Into our corner space, our corners are 1 single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1 single crochet into the same corner space. Just like that, and chain 2, 1, 2. So now you can pause the video and keep working along, doing your chain 2 and single crochet into the space all the way along the side of your block. If you have a hard time seeing your spaces, just give it a little pull and you'll see those spaces open up a little bit. And for your corners, they're always going to be single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet. So pause the video and I'll meet you when we get back to our stitch marker. When you reach back to your stitch marker, I've done my chain 2, so I'm going to go right into that same space as the stitch marker and do 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1, 2. Now pop that stitch marker out and pull that chain you made, the first one of this round, and we just want to be going into that stitch. We want to go right here that is where we're going to join. So pop your hook into that first stitch and make 1 single crochet to join. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. Now I want to find that space we just made, that chain 2 and single crochet space, and we want to pop our stitch marker in right there, because that's where we're going to be finishing our corner when we work our way around. So 2 double crochets into that same space to start. 1 and 2. So pause the video and keep working along. 3 double crochets into each space along each side, and corners, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets all the way around, and I'll be meeting you when we get back to our stitch marker. When you get back to your stitch marker, right into that very same space where your stitch marker is, we're going to do our 3 double crochets. And you can pop that stitch marker out whenever it gets in your way. There is 1, 2, and 3. Pop that stitch marker out, chain 1, and single crochet to join. So we're going to single crochet to the top of that chain 3 to join, right there. So pop your hook in, 1 single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now turn your work. We want to pop that stitch marker in again, right here underneath our chain we just made, right into that corner space. Pop your stitch marker in, and now we're going to do 1 more row of the single crochets and chains. So single crochet into the next space, chain 2, single crochet into the next space, all the way along your sides. Corners are single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and you want to continue doing that all the way around until you get back to where we started. When you get back to your stitch marker, do your last chain 2 and into that corner space, 1 single crochet. And now we're going to finish off with this green, so chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now slip stitch to join. So we're going to slip stitch right into that same spot, right into that first stitch. We're going to slip stitch to join. So 1 slip stitch, chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle. Pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down to secure. Turn your work. Grab whatever color you're using for your edge. Loop of yarn. Pop your hook into a corner, not where you finished. You want to pick a different corner. So just pop your hook straight into that corner space. Loop of your new yarn on your hook. Bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, and drop your tail. Just hold that along the back of your work and chain 2. 1 and 2. If you joined your yarn in a different way, chain 3. Now just working over your tail for the next 2 stitches, wrap your yarn and 2 double crochets into that same corner space. 1 and 2. And now we're doing the same thing just with a new color yarn. So pause the video and keep working around. 3 double crochets into each space along each side. And corners are 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. When you get to the corner with your tail, you can just hold that along with your work and just work right over it. Just like that with your corner. So you can pause the video and keep working along, and I'll meet you when we get back to where we started. When you get back to where we joined, just finish that corner with your 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And we're finished with this color of yarn as well. So we're just going to do a chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to slip stitch to join. So we're going to slip stitch right to the top of that chain 3, right there. So pop your hook in, 2 strands of that stitch on the top of your hook, and 1 slip stitch. Chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down to secure. Turn your work. Find a corner that we haven't attached yarn to, so find a fresh corner, and just pop your hook right into that corner space. Grab your green yarn again, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pop that onto your hook, bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, drop your tail, and chain 2. 1 and 2. Now we're doing the same thing as we did before, so into the first space, 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 1 single crochet into the next space, chain 2. So pause the video and keep working along. 1 single crochet, chain 2 all the way along on all your sides, and corners of 1 single crochet, chain 3 and 1 single crochet all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get back to where we started. When we get back to where we started, 1 single crochet into that corner space, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to slip stitch to join right in between the legs of that very first stitch we made. Right there, we're going to slip stitch. So pop your hook in and slip stitch to join. Chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down to secure. So go ahead and get all of your blocks done up until this size, this row. Don't worry about joining them. We're going to mix and match all of our flowers and join them up at the end. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did. We'll see you in the next video. Stay hooked.